Hi. Oh, I can take this one out. I'm Dr. Cheryl Meyer, and today I was just going to talk a little bit about loneliness. Yay! Loneliness and this feeling of isolation. So, let me look. Let me show you what's around. It's so beautiful. I'm just going to keep my camera vertical today. I don't know if the sun is meant to be behind me or... No one taught me this yet. Whoops, there's my case. So, I don't have the conclusion for this yet. But I was just reflecting. I was on a long walk just now, reflecting on the idea of loneliness. Because a lot of us are in isolation. It's still quarantine and isolation and stay at home, and I don't know all the words for what it is right now. But what is this feeling of loneliness? Because people can be in a marriage, it's like a couple, and still feel really lonely. Or they can feel really loved in a relationship, and they can still feel like there's moments, where you're like, oh, but I'm a woman and that person's a man, or whatever, I'm just saying in this instance, you're like, they don't know what it's like to be a woman, so you feel lonely in that. Or if it's not that, then it's like, well, I broke my arm and this person's never broken their arm, so they don't know the loneliness I feel in having a broken arm. A lot of it is ego identification. We've identified with this problem or this experience, or even the idea of loneliness. Where does it come from, Because I was thinking about this late last night. Of course, I was doing a meditation, and this sense of loneliness came up from childhood again, and not feeling understood, like I came from a different planet or something. And so today an answer came to me like, if I recognized how lonely I felt as a child, it must be because I knew somehow what it was to feel oneness, unified, loved. And I don't think this came from my parents, not to disparage at all my parents. I feel like it's more like that cosmic oneness, that oneness with the Creator, with all that is, with love. If God is love, then there's a sense of us, maybe in childhood we know this, or from some past before we were born here, or I had to look up what a starseed was the other day because I was trying to understand what that was. Some people think, I'm not going to put down anyone else's ideas of what this is, but some people think that they come from a more evolved planet where everyone learned how to actually love and be in the oneness again, and then they came here to bring that consciousness, to bring that awareness and higher consciousness and higher vibration here. I like the idea, even if it's whatever it is, But it's still, even if it was that, if we all came, even if there are other planets that are more evolved or whatever, I don't know. I haven't reached that kind of spiritual depth where I can travel in the noetic world, and as far as I know, unless I'm doing it in my dreams and not remembering them, and see other planets or whatever. But even if that was the case, it's still, we all come from divine love, And so I was just reflecting on my walk. I was like, not always trying to find the silver lining in this, but we are to be like the magician, like the alchemist. Like, how can we how can we see the other side of this so that we're not completely discouraged and broken and going through life in this lack mentality. The ego has lack mentality. When you get into your heart, you get into this expansive understanding of reality, and you're never lacking. So I was looking at it like, wait a second. This loneliness that I felt in childhood, that's coming back up for some reason. It got triggered by something else, someone else seemingly pulling the rug out, from underneath when you felt loved, and then it's gone again or something. But you can even feel that with yourself. If you're betraying your own self, is one other thing. I'll go back to the answer, but if you're betraying yourself, like if you notice, oh, wait a second, I'm not setting good boundaries for myself. I'm disrespecting myself because I learned that I wasn't worth more than that, or that people are going to leave me if I set boundaries. I grew up in a sort of narcissistic environment, so everything had to be centered around that person, and you have to figure out what they want. And if you have any boundaries, then you are the worst person alive, and you're worthy of being rejected for sure. And so you're a bad girl or a bad boy, if you have boundaries. So setting boundaries was just like, it's really difficult to do because you could be annihilated as a child. And so, like, instead of getting mad at myself, of course, for, oh, you suck at setting boundaries, it's just like, well, look, this is where I came from, and I don't want to be bound by that, but I get to learn how to set boundaries and get to relearn what my worth is and treat myself according to that. But you can feel really lonely on either side of that. You can feel really lonely when you're betraying yourself because your authentic self is like, hey, I don't feel known or respected or loved because you're betraying me. You're selling me out to try to keep these other people around. And you don't realize you're doing that. But you are pushing down your authentic self, and in doing that, and then you're more lonely because you're not getting to know your real self. I'm like, I've been sometimes writing in the captions on my videos, and I had a lot of that's okay. You're saying that. I'm sort of saying that to myself. Like, hey, are you getting this? It's okay if you don't. It's like learning how to not judge yourself, to be okay with where you are. If I'm lonely, it's like, oh, well, so people can be joining dating apps and dating people and still feel lonely because just spending time with some random person doesn't mean it means, like, I would not be alone right now on this walk if a coyote came up next to me. It doesn't mean I want a coyote in my life right now, I'm like, or a mountain lion. But it's cool when I see them, and deer or whatever. Am I really alone? Like, I'm looking at this rock, and look at all these rocks as part of this rock. And some people say it's like, look at your fingers, and it's like, am I this one finger, or am I this whole, my hand looks weird in the video. Is my finger connected to this hand is connected to my body, and my body is like connected to this earth, and we are all one right now already, but we're not aware of it. I don't know, this is like late night conversations in the middle of the day. But I know a lot of people are dealing with this and looking at it because, a lot of people are stuck at home with their own thoughts, except for TV, But am I less alone because I have the TV on? Sometimes I'm numbing myself. Oh, that's the song. Of course, there's a song that came up in my mind as I was walking down here. I'm walking back down right now. I've been up here for a long time today. But it's one of Elliots' songs. He's like, I'll try to sing it. You don't deserve to be lonely. Those drugs you got won't make you feel better. Sometimes I think it's the only little part of yourself you're keeping together. Look, there's an eagle. I'm a hawk, I always call them eagles. They're hawks. It better be in. I can't ever tell if it's in the shot. Come over here, Hawk. It just showed up. I haven't seen one all day. I saw a crow. Go off to sleep in the sunshine. Ah, see, I love the sun. It's like, how can we ever feel alone when we just put our face to the sun? There's an Egyptian prayer that says, "May your light fill my temple with light." But I think of the Christ light as well. And my Jesus candle that I often have, that I was lighting with my Bob Marley lighter. I just got to a place last night where it's like, it's okay. It doesn't, we can be in a crowd full of people. It's so funny. I have this story of, I was like homecoming queen, right? I'm like, shh, don't tell anybody. I mean, it was for my grade, so I think it was called Duchess that year or something, but I didn't have a date for the homecoming dance. I don't know why. Like, if I was intimidating, I felt pretty down to earth, or if I just pushed people away, I don't know. But it was funny because they all voted me to be the queen or the duchess or whatever it was that year out of my big school. You know, there were like 4,000 people there. But I didn't have a date. I thought it was ironic, you know. Is that irony? I don't know. But, oh, those English majors are going to get upset if they watch this. That's okay. It's okay. It's okay to feel lonely. That's what I got to last night. I was like, it's not anything to be ashamed of that I felt lonely in childhood, or that I was remembering that feeling of utter loneliness. You know, it can come up and it can pass through, and it's not going to be there forever. And even if it was, even if I got to the conclusion last night, like, even if I felt lonely the rest of my life here, I don't want to be afraid of that. Like, it's okay. To me, it indicates that I once knew a profound love and I was part of that. And that's our soul's longing, is to go back to that union, or, you know, the only psalm that's coming to mind is that delight yourself in the Lord and he will give you the desires of your heart. But it's kind of like delight yourself in the oneness of love and you will get the oneness of love, you know? The desires of your heart. The true desires. Because back to Elliots' song, you know, we can, I think sometimes maybe drug addicts or people that run after intense experiences, maybe they have this remembrance of a deep love, and they're just trying to recreate that. And I'm not making excuses. I'm not saying go do that, because then you can throw away all your resources chasing after that high, you know? Instead of going, maybe that high is an indication of a deep love that I knew once in my soul, that I can get back in touch with in a more natural way. Like, I know that Elliot and I felt that, this kindred spiritness. Like, I felt so not alone, so alive when I was with him. And I felt that after. I felt that after. And I didn't know I was going to feel that again, you know? And it's like, you want to feel that feeling because it feels so good. But at what expense, you know? It's like, never sell yourself out. Like, I mean, people can do drugs if they want to do drugs, but I don't ever want to sell myself out to run after some high I know. I am reminded of C.S. Lewis in the last book of the Narnia books, The Last Battle. It says, "Come further up and further in." They're going to eternity, you know, to the eternal Narnia, the essence of what was underneath the real Narnia. And you're going up, and they can run as fast as they want, you know. And they're going further up and further in. I told you I didn't really come to a conclusion yet about this. I was waiting. Oh, look, the hawks. It came right there. I asked it to come closer. This is like, it's right there. Thank you, hawk. I love nature. I love nature. It's like, I mean, that idea did come to mind. I have the audiobook of The Hobbit and The Lord of the Rings, and this nature right now. I'm so lucky. A lot of people are just stuck in their house and they don't have this. I feel like I could live forever with just that, you know, as long as I kept my phone charged. Maybe then I was like, okay, I have to memorize The Lord of the Rings so no one can take that from me. But, you know, everything is temporary here in a way, except for your soul, your essence, you know. And the more you accept the loneliness that you feel, the more you're not afraid to go there, and then you get right past the loneliness and you feel this oneness and love of everything, and like you are all these little rocks in this rock, you know, on this rock, you know, on the earth, in the middle of the cosmos or whatever, you know. I know that priest, I sometimes don't say, I just say that wise person that meets with me, that has so for 4 years, I think. He always tells me Christ meets you in your loneliness and is there with you in it, you know. Sometimes that helps. I say sometimes because sometimes you can know that in the deepest of your being, you know. One time I was doing a meditation and I was on this bus with other people, and someone else on the bus saw a vision of Christ. And I was meeting with Christ, but I have this, I said I have this inner vision problem. It's not really a problem, but I knew I was meeting in this meditation, but I wasn't really seeing, just feeling the presence. This is really deep. But it was so wild that that person happened to see Christ at the same time while I was instructed to go to begin this meditation. But anyway, it's just interesting. Okay, so I say sometimes it makes you feel better because you can have a knowing, like I can have a knowing that Christ is with me in this pain, and I can feel, and the pain isn't everything. It's just a temporary experience. You know, your ego identifies with it. Like, we can't have pain, and it's like, yeah, we can, and that's not all of who I am. It's just an experience I'm having, you know, and it might trigger up that old experience I had as a child. If I cry and let it out, it's no longer trapped in me. I'm not sad about the experience in my childhood. It's just another experience that I had that's no longer like, avoid that, you know. But I said sometimes it makes us feel better because we have this feeling and this sensing, or some people can visualize and see this presence with us. Sometimes it's just like, I don't feel any of that. I don't see any of that. I'm in like this dark night of the soul. It just feels dark. But fine, you know, just give me those words that Christ is with me. I don't want it to ever be like just religious talk, but you know, there's the sun. But here in California, it's like some of these days, the sun cannot be out and people are like super depressed. And it's like, go to Iceland or Alaska or somewhere, you know, like people go without the sun for a long time and the sun is still here and the sun is still here in my heart. And the ego is what's the lack mentality that says we're in loneliness and we're alone and we don't have. And really, when I go in my meditation space, I can connect with the Buddha, I can connect with Jesus, I can connect with Mary, I can connect with my friends that have passed, I can connect with whomever. Like, I see there and I do experience when I'm in that enlightened Zen quiet place that we're all one together. We are all, it looks like we're just this finger, but we're connected to the hand, we're connected to all of us, each other. It's really deep. I guess I'm just saying, I wish you love. If you feel lonely or isolated and you picked this video because you saw the title, because I think I'm going to title it, you know, loneliness and isolation, lovely topics. Just know that you aren't alone and we can all go through that. And I don't know, I saw a ladybug today. Does that make me less lonely? I took a picture of it. It was super cute. That ladybug is always here. You know, it was here whether I saw it today or not. Like, who knows? We all have a guardian angel. We have all sorts of, who knows, helping us out that are with us. I hear Christ often in my inner mind, when I'm in quiet, in like a prayer state. So don't worry. It's like saying, I'm with you always. I will never leave you. I will never forsake you. I love you with an everlasting love. Who knows how loved we really are? And why we're in a place sometimes where we forget that. Maybe it's important that we forget it, because then we remember what we once knew. I wish you so much love. I love you. As much as I can from here, I send you my love.